How majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouths of babes and infants, you have founded a bulwark because of your foes, to silence the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are humans that you are mindful of them, mortals that you care for them? Yet you have made them a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. You have given them dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under their feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the air and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the seas. O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth.
Good morning. I will say this, you're a friendly crowd. It's a lively place to be on a Sunday morning. Thank you. And I'm so delighted that you have connected yourselves to my friend Reverend Naomi, who was one of my all-time favorite people when we were at Pacific School of Religion together a little while ago. But you're very fortunate. And that Hafiz poem is the title of my talk today, Cast All Your Votes for Dancing. The world's a little crazy right now. You noticed? Just seems like in every direction things are shifting in ways that were sometimes not predictable, and certainly the path beyond here is not always predictable. And it's very easy to get sucked into the news or just doom scrolling on your phone. And what I want to say, and I'll give you my whole talk in this one sentence, is don't lose your joy. In the midst of all of that, the call really is to find that place of joy in us, to love ourselves. If we're going to be of any good to the world, that's where we have to start. Our sphere of influence starts right here and echoes out from there. So if we can't find our place of joy, we can't find the place to love ourselves, we're not going to be much good to help what's going on in the world. So I feel like that's our work. To love ourselves lavishly, joyfully, first, before anybody else, love me. Now, how many of you immediately have a voice going off in your head that says, well, that's selfish? If you think about it, the person who taught you that probably benefited by you being unselfish. Just saying. Who taught you that? And how did they, well, we won't go there. I think it's important to witness how we do harm to ourselves by our lack of love. And it's things like we withhold kindness and softness to ourselves that we would extend to a stranger. Just in little ways. That like, no, I don't deserve that. And our whole deservingness is there are many sermons that could go just in that area of our beingness, like, what don't we deserve? Are we not the beloved of the beloved? Were we not created by the force of love that loves us that much? Who are we to not love ourselves if we're being loved that lavishly by the essence of love itself? But because we've learned to harm ourselves, we've learned to not respect ourselves, we've learned to not love ourselves, and certainly not to put ourselves first. My invitation to you is to lean in, look a little closer at what that is about. And I know my tendency when I start looking at those kinds of things is to kind of run in the other direction. I don't really want to know all of that. But I honestly believe that the Healing that we can get is found in understanding where that came from. What are the causes of that? How did I get to that story? And that we, in beginning to ask those questions of ourselves, enter into a path of healing that is not open to us if we just run and hide every time the questions come up. This week, a friend of mine shared with me a dream that she had, and it has stayed with me since I first heard that conversation. And what she described was, in the dream, there was a rose, and all of the thorns were turned back on itself. They were turned inward. And to me, what that suggests is that there's self-harm happening. Like, if you think about it, the purpose of the thorns on a rose are to protect the rose. They were never intended to harm the rose. That protection might have been necessary at some point. And particularly those thorns that we're turning in on ourselves, maybe there was a time in our life when our very survival depended on that. That maybe those thorns, that need for protection, which is like stay defended, don't get undefended ever, might have been essential. Or maybe we just thought it was, but maybe it was. But the protection continued long after the danger was past. So here we are in another era of our lives, protecting ourselves when the danger's not really there in that sense anymore. That Hafiz poem, when he talks about, where is it here? The counterfeit coins that bring you pleasure for a little while, but then drag you along like a man behind a farting camel. Is that not a visual that makes you want to shudder a little bit? What are those counterfeit coins? They're the things that we give up ourselves for sometimes to get. Maybe it's the external things of life, our home, our car, our clothes, our way of showing up in the world. Maybe it's our addictions. Maybe it's our secret pleasures that we don't tell anybody about. Maybe it's a willingness to deny ourselves and accept surface friendships instead of the authentic thing, because somewhere beneath all of that, we're not sure we deserve the real intimacy of close friends. Just saying. The work that is ours to do is to figure out what brings real joy. What is it that brings real freedom? And I would suggest to you that it's in befriending the parts of ourselves that we have denied, the parts of ourselves that we have hated. Might be too strong a word, but maybe not. But the parts of us that we have not been willing to accept. What if we befriend that part of us? So instead of asking it in some way or another, what's wrong with me? Instead, we ask it this way: when did I stop believing that I was good and start to believe that I was the problem? When did that happen? Because that's how we get to the part where we don't love and accept ourselves. At some point in our life, we made a decision based on probably our small child's view of what was going on around us, but we made decisions that we're carrying forward, thinking, I'm the problem. You are allowed to choose you. You're allowed to choose what brings you joy. You're allowed to put yourself first over and over and over again. That is not to the denial of anybody that you love, anybody that you would like to serve, anybody that you have been serving. It's not to deny them. It is to start with self-love, because this is what I said at the beginning. That's what radiates out. So when you choose you, you actually are choosing what's around you. You're actually choosing everybody else. Because from a centered, grounded, loving place, and you know that, these people we honored this morning clearly have that down. When you start from that place of being love, what pours out is what blesses those people in your life. It's not anything that you do instead of loving you. It's after you love you. Is this resonating? Okay. I thought maybe you were in those congregations that already had this down. But, this is Hafiz again, keep squeezing drops of the sun from your prayers and work and music, and from your companions' beautiful laughter, and from the most insignificant movements of your own holy body. That's a hard one for a lot of us. Our own holy body. There's a sweetness, there's a preciousness about our actual incarnated form that's ours to appreciate, to love, to give thanks for, to dance in. That's the work. So to be of service in the world, and I do believe that the world is calling for people of faith to show up in a very big way right now. And you are in the guidance of your own inner guidance, God itself. Know what that is. Know where is the place that you can show up. But what the world is crying for is for people who can show up in love, as love, to be love. If God is love, God in me can show up as love. That's the calling. That's the calling. That's the work that's ours to do. From that place, love radiates outward. It heals everyone it touches. But it starts with healing us. So I just didn't want to invite you to start there. Start with just loving yourselves, looking a little deeper at the parts of you that you don't love, and begin to ask that question. When did I stop loving this part of me? Why did I do that? Because that is also part of the me that is made in the image of God. So asking that question is the way to continue to affirm more and more of me that I love me as. First, second, third, always. I love me. I'm showing up as love because I love me. And that's a very different message than I suspect a number of us grew up with in our faith traditions and in our families. Am I right? Yeah, that this is the place to start love right here. Is God's work for us to do. Let's pray. And just recognizing that the infinite presence of love is right here, in this place, surrounding us, in, around, through, and as us. There's only one thing happening. And I call it God, I call it love. That wholeness, that is life itself, is right here, showing up as each of us. And so I speak my word, calling forth that presence of love to be the healing force in the dark corners of every heart, of every life here. That infinite presence washes clean, lights up, fills with light every cell of our body, every piece of our consciousness. We are that. And all that is not like that simply falls away because it had no weight of its own. It falls into the nothingness from whence it came. Who we are is an emanation of the Most High God, here to be love. I say yes. I say yes. I say yes for each of us. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.